Welcome to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. I'm Erin, and I'm joined on this episode by my co-host Alex Reid. Today we're going to talk to one of our newly crowned National Champion of Champions, Women's Pairs winning skip, Diane Patterson. Then we will chat with young guns Seamus Curtin and Ashley Jeffcoat. First, though, we'll review the recently held Champion of Champion Pairs. Whew, that's a mouthful, Alex, isn't it?
I'm sorry for writing that.
Tricky one. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this to the show, to be fair, and I think we've got some interesting people to talk to. But like you said, I think the first thing we should do is review the recently held Champion of Champions Pairs that was in Dunedin on their blue green. It's the second in our 4 Champion of Champions events that are running over this sort of 4-week period.
The Hopes Dunedin Lawn Bowl Stadium with their blue-green.
That's what it's called. And by all accounts, they did a fantastic job there. And you can check it all out on YouTube, and it's also on our Facebook and our website. There were... How do we do it? There's one long stream now, isn't there, instead of the individual
Instead
things?
of the individual groupings, there is one long stream. I do believe that we're going to go and put little markers in where the games start, where the next round starts, so it's going to be easy to kind of scrub through an 8-hour video of bowls. But if you really want to sit and watch all 8 hours of it, you're going to get some spectacular viewing.
Yeah, no, it went well, and I watched a bit of the live streaming, and with this new split screen innovation, you can watch double the amount of bowls than you could before. So if you're interested in seeing some of the section plan finals, that's the place to go have a look. And the other interesting thing, I've been really pleased with it. So we've spoken about Bowl Sub Aotearoa before. We used it for our open national events, and we've been using it for our interclub and Intercentre, and now we're using it for our Champion of Champions. It does a really good job in just giving you pretty up-to-date results, which I've been enjoying sort of following. And there's a hope that we're going to get live scoring. So I think for the Hastings Champion of Champion singles, there was live scoring of the final. And that's just going to become more and more common, which is pretty cool. So I suppose we should get to the results of what they're waiting for. So
drum roll.
Yeah. In the men's pairs, Leif Selby and James Williams went back-to-back. They're back-to-back champions on that, and they defeated Murray Wilson and Owen Bennett of St Kilda 16-11 in what was a good game. I think it's pretty impressive that Leif and James have managed to go back-to-back in that and won themselves a national Champion of Champion Pairs title 2 years in a row in the same... I think it was in the same facility, so they would have had some serious deja vu there.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the women's side, the women's side, that works. The women's event was Diane Patterson and Leslie Bork from Wanganui defeated Joe Edwards and Kay Hammond of Nelson 17-10, and what a mighty win that was for them. You know, Joe and Kay, pretty experienced campaigners, and
just a bit.
They've won a bit between themselves. So I'm looking forward to getting Diane's thoughts a bit further on how that felt to win that. You know, I'd imagine if you were in a final against Joe Edwards, to win it would feel pretty special, and something that maybe I don't know how she felt going into it. We'll find out soon enough. I
think that's one of the great things about our sport, though, isn't it? You can... Champ of Champs Pairs has just played, and in your final you were playing Joe Edwards, triple gold medalist.
All the medals.
Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
You don't get that level of competition in many sports, but with bowls you can. You never know who you're going to end up playing against, and how cool is that?
Oh, it's fantastic.
How cool.
And anyone could beat anyone as well, which is even better. So it was a good one to see, and they played really well. Just going back to like Leif and James, I think it's the last time they can play as a pairs combination, because James Williams is now going to be domiciled in Tauranga.
Yes.
Instead of Auckland at the Carlton Cornwall Club, so he's moved on from there. So Leif mentioned in his speech it was nice to go out on a high after having, they've been pretty successful. To get to a national Champion of Champions event, you have to win your club and centre Champion of Champions. So technically they've won 6 events out of 6 together. That's not bad. That's not a bad effort.
With the way it works, with dual membership,
yes.
If James decided that he wanted to play out of Carlton Cornwall to keep that partnership together.
We could see him.
Yeah, you might, but he just couldn't play for his Tauranga club, could he, in the Champ of Champs?
Not at the same one.
Not at the same champ. He couldn't dip his toe in to try and get two opportunities.
You can't do a double dipping. Yeah.
He'd need a commit.
Yeah, but it'll be cool.
There we go. We might see them back if James can take that commitment.
I suppose if
calling you out, James.
If you're looking for a reason, winning 2 in a row, you want to go for the three-peat.
The hat trick.
Be a good story. I'd be pretty pleased. And on that blue-green in Dunedin as well, which I quite like. What do you think of the blue-green, Erin?
I like blue-greens. I do. I feel like I'm talking about a shade of colour. It's a blue-green. Or is it a green-blue? And I do find it quite ironic where they have, at bowling clubs, where they have a blue-green and they say, please keep street shoes off the green, and you look and there's none. But little things that make it. I really like how the yellow jacks look on the blue-green.
Yeah, because they pop, eh?
Yeah, they do. They really do. Yep. And when it's inside, you've got the opportunity to do a different colour. Why would you not?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I like it. I think it's.
What other colours do you think you could do?
Well, that's where I was leading towards, because there's no reason with an artificial
supply, maybe manufacturer's supply of colour, but could you do a red one?
Well, you could do different colours.
The floor is lava.
Yeah, like you could do different colours to denote length or something. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see an indoor facility just go a little bit out there with how they are dyeing or whatever you do to your carpet. I think it'd be cool. Targets.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Right. Okay. So one of the questions we did ask the people of the Facebook.
The people of the Facebook. You're a community out there, guys.
Before we recorded was head covering in bowls and what ones. What's your preferred headwear on a bowling green? So we've got some sort of feedback. Oliver Mason posted a GIF of what looks like an extremely large sombrero.
Yes, cowboy hat maybe?
I'll be surprised if he wears that, but fair
I
cool.
wouldn't be surprised if he wore something like that myself.
Okay. Well, good. Sue Way, who we've had on here before, said a peak cap with a Velcro back so I can make it tighter to keep my hat on in the wind. And she'll
Wellington.
say that because she's from Wellington.
Yeah.
Just
Hearing you, Sue.
Yeah. You just have to close your eyes and pray. Annie McDonald reckons a visor. B. Gray reckons a visor, so that seems quite popular. Sue Hodges, a visor.
I would do a visor because then, as a female note, or if it's a guy who has a lot of hair and likes wearing a top knot, you can pull your hair out the top. You can wear it up high and you don't have to worry about the heat on the back of your neck or through the cap at the back. You can wear it quite high if you're a high top knot ponytail wearer.
That makes sense.
That's a benefit of a visor.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have long hair but you have a hairstyle, it's not going to... These are the important things.
They are.
You don't have the hair crush as well. But it need to be a big brim because it's all about the sun safety for me. I don't want... It needs to cover fully over my nose, cover my ears, cover right down... Like the shadow needs to cover right down to my chin because that's important. A lot of like I like a bucket hat. It's good for the nose. It's good for the ears, but you still get a lot of sun that can hit you on like your nose to your jawline. So for those people who wear bucket hats, make sure that you're also using the sunscreen because you're doing step 1 right. You're keeping covered. But you need the sunscreen to keep that.
It is important to have the sunscreen as well. Something bowls clubs are quite good at, to be fair, is having sunscreen readily accessible to anyone who's there.
Yes.
I usually forget my sunscreen, but so I just go to the bar.
We know.
or usually in the bathroom there's sunscreen there. Although you don't want to get it mixed up with your hand
soap.
your soap, it might not work.
Your sunscreen's kind of dripping off your face. Like, this is not good.
Go well. Brian Lilly reckons a peak cap.
Yep.
Which is fair. Graham White says cap only because it matches my bowls uniform, which I don't mind. That's the other thing I quite like is quite often people on their caps or bowls hats put some badges, which I think is pretty cool.
Yep.
And then Bruce Richard Imrie said something with earmuffs, so maybe he doesn't want to listen to a skip.
Or maybe he wants to listen to other things, commentary of other sports happening at the same time, or music. Maybe he wants music.
That works. And someone else,
or maybe he wants his ears covered.
And Brendan Moulton reckons sunglasses on top of his head, and I'm not sure how helpful that would be.
Not
sure
if it's sunny.
That would be in the sun, but I suppose technically it's headwear.
It's headwear, and maybe there is one of those superstition things behind it.
Yeah. So whatever, I suppose whatever works. But an interesting cross section of opinions there, and obviously the bucket hat as well has recently become part of the Bowls New Zealand. If we look at our New Zealand representatives in the past, Mike Kernahan was the only one who wore a bucket hat.
Yep.
But over the last 3 or 4 years, the bucket hat's been an option to them, hasn't it, Erin?
It has, and I was just doing a little bit of reading. about past bowlers, and I think that Mike Kernahan can't be credited with the leader of the bucket hat wearing brigade, because I found a little snippet about Nick Unkovic.
Yes.
Who apparently, back in his day when he was bowling, was someone to start wearing the floppy hat.
The floppy hat.
Yes. So he apparently ruffled a few feathers at that time when everything was very crisp and very white, and he decided that he was just going to start wearing this floppy hat on the green. So maybe that's where Mr. Kernahan got it from.
Fantastic.
Who knows?
What a story.
Who knows? We'll have to ask Mike that question one day. Did he know that Nick Unkovic started wearing the floppy hat, or does he try and claim it himself?
I'd say probably knew.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I'm going fishing here. I'm seeing what he's going to come back with. Anyway, so that was a good discussion on a lot of things that we've just had. Champ of Champs, bowls, green colours, blue-green colours, winners and head coverings. But let's leave it there and get ready, because coming up next we're going to be talking to Diane Patterson here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. Alex, who are we speaking with next?
We are speaking with now to Diane Patterson from Wanganui, who's our newly crowned Champion of Champions Peers winning skip.
Well done. Well done, Diane, and welcome to the show.
And what a mouthful. How are you feeling, Diane?
Thank you very much. Oh, actually feeling really elated. I mean, Leslie and I just over the moon. We just couldn't believe that we'd actually come through and won it.
That's incredible. So what I thought we'd do is we'll start from the beginning and we'll finish up at the at your Champion of Champions win. So tell us about what's your earliest memory of lawn bowls?
Well, my earliest memory was from my parents. They actually played bowls, and they played in Auckland out of the Mount Wellington Club. And then my sister joined up, and I thought, what's this all about? So I thought I might as well have a go too, and that's how I got hooked.
Fair enough. Was that still up in Auckland when you joined bowling club, Diane?
No. I was living down here in Wanganui at the time, and my first club I played out of was Aramo, and I did the first 5 years out of Aramo. Then I did 5 years at Lead Park, and then I did the remainder of my time, well, I'm still there, at the Wanganui Bowling Club.
Now, is that the same bowling club where Peter Bellis started as well?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Did you jump the fence to go and start playing your bowls, or are you...
Actually, it's funny because with Peter Bellis there, I actually played with his mum, and I actually led for her. You know, so that was very exciting.
Yeah, you've played with and you've played against some pretty big names in the sport, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yes.
That must be cool. So you started off at Aramo and then moved to a couple of different clubs at Wanganui. Can you talk us through what's an early success that you remember having with your bowling career?
Oh, my early success. Actually, I've had quite a few. I've actually had a very good bowling career, but I can actually put it down to really Joy Lynch. She actually coached me, and she was my mentor, and she actually put me through a lot of things I never knew was there. But Leslie and I, you know, we've both played very well. We get in, we practice, and between us, we have done very, very well.
It must be quite satisfying to look back on, Diane.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
Very much so.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the to your weekend, which is a massive weekend of bowls, and you came out on top. Can you talk us through the journey? So obviously, to win a Champion of Champions, you first start off at your club event, and then your centre, and then the national. Can you just talk us through how all that went, please?
Oh, yes. Going from the club, it's not an easy thing to get even your club championship. And once you get that to go through the centre, you actually have to step up and really focus on what you do. But to actually go through it and get it Dunedin, well, for Leslie and I, that was just the icing on the cake. Last year when we did it, we got put out in the first round after qualifying. And this year we just wanted to do one step more, but we got to the final and we were just over the moon.
Fair enough. So are you saying that you won your back-to-back Centre Champion of Champion Peers winners?
Yes.
That must have been a good start. So when you came back through, so you went and played at Dunedin. It's the same place it was last year, is that right? My memory's
Yes, it was.
That's cool. So did you feel like it was more comfortable coming in this year, having experienced it once before?
Yeah, it was. We actually did very well last year as well. We got the 3 disciplines last year, so we went all over the country. But this year, coming back into Dunedin, we sort of knew the people there. The people in the club, Dunedin Club, were absolutely wonderful. I mean, even the team from Bowls New Zealand couldn't do enough for us. So we've just felt very comfortable right from the start.
Yeah, you can say on the podcast if you keep saying nice things like that. That's great. Thank you, Diane.
That's all right.
Excellent. So you made it through one round post section last year, and this year you kept going. How did it feel when you got to that sort of semi-final stage? What was going through your mind?
Not a lot, actually. All we had a little talk, and all we decided to do was just, like Joy Lynch has always told us, one bowl at a time, and just concentrate on the bowl that's in your hand. And that's what we did. And it paid off.
Yeah, fair enough. So you won the semi-final, and you made the final, and you're playing Joe Edwards and Kay Hammond. Did anything go through your mind then? What were you feeling?
Oh, no, look, I tell you what, playing against Jo, it was really, really nice. She put you at ease, and we just felt comfortable playing against the team.
Fair enough too. And that final went well. You guys played really well in that game. Did it sink in straight away? Like when after that last bowler being played and you've now won a national champion of champion event, what was what feelings were going through at that point?
Sort of unbelievable that we've actually gotten that far and we've actually achieved it. I think we both did a little cry and had a big hug, and yeah, it was really good. When we just concentrated on second shot after a while, like everybody does, second shot, and then we sort of knew that we had it, and the feeling was just unbelievable.
You get that little gold medal and a trophy. I think do you get to keep the trophy? I think you do, don't you?
Do.
Yeah. If you didn't know, you get to keep the trophy.
Or are you going to keep it now?
Thank you.
Because Alex has just told you
see
can.
A little bit, yeah, I didn't see a little return on it, so I thought, oh, yes, we're going to have that.
Yeah, you get to keep it. No, pretty cool. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm so pleased for you guys. Have you got any more of the Champion of Champion events to travel to this season?
Yes, you just caught me. I was in the middle of packing. We're heading down tomorrow to do the triples in Nainai.
Oh, brilliant. And who's your team for that one, Diane?
Oh, there's myself. I've got Leslie and another young lady, Deborah Garside. She's going to be leading for us.
Oh, fantastic. I hope that goes well for you. And, of course, for the listeners, if you want to follow their progress or anyone's progress, Bowls Hub Aotearoa and our website and our Facebook, just sort of stumble somewhere there and the results should be easy enough to come across. Thanks very much for talking to us, Diane. I've got one more question for you. So we're up to week 22 or 23 of the Bowls Hour now, and every week we ask a strange little question at the end. We call it a bonus question, don't we, Erin?
Yes. Getting to know our people.
Just to ask something that's not really to do with bowls, so I thought I'd pose this one to you, Diane. When you have cereal, do you put your milk in followed by the cereal, or do you put your cereal in first followed by the milk?
Well, if I was to have cereal, it would be cereal then milk. But honestly, I'm more of a porridge person.
Oh, and what do you have? What do you have with your porridge?
Milk.
Milk.
Put the porridge in, then the milk. Yes.
So do you develop your oats into the milk? Because I take my oats and put them with hot water first, and then I add milk on top to cool it down to make it quite stodgy and lumpy for my porridge. I'm not a creamy fan.
Maybe this is the question I should have been asking.
Yeah, no, I put the porridge in first, put the milk on, put a teaspoon of sugar, and just throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Fair enough.
That's a common way. I think I'm the oddity there in that I do mine with milk and then I do mine with water and then I add the milk on.
Yeah, as long as I have brown sugar, I'm a happy person
Brown
with
sugar
porridge.
is very important. I can remember my mum telling me that is too much sugar. You don't need all of that.
You need brown sugar and a pinch of salt.
We're gonna develop this question as we go because I think the milk and cereal is going to develop into a porridge one.
Yeah, we digress. So
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for talking to us today, Diane.
Thank you very much, Erin. It's been a pleasure. But all I can say is Leslie and I had a fantastic time, and Leslie was a really fantastic lead, and we really enjoyed everything.
Awesome. Thank you.
And again, all the best for your weekend this weekend.
Thank you very much.
No worries. And coming up now, we're going to be speaking with Seamus Curtin here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. Now we are speaking with Seamus. How are you, Seamus?
I'm good, thank you, Erin. How are you?
Good, thanks.
It's always good news when someone's good, isn't it? I'd hate to ask them how they were.
Doesn't it?
Are you just being polite?
Very good. So thanks for coming on the show, Seamus. I thought we'd start at the beginning with your career in bowls or life in bowls. And can you tell us, what's your earliest memory of bowls?
Well, it was quite early. I was 10 years old, and I was quite fortunate to join the bowling club quite similar time to a couple of my good mates, Bradley and Finbar. So Finbar lived across the road and Bradley lived not too far away, and we always used to go down to the bowling club and watch them bowl.
Did you used to sit on the side and have a bag of chips and a can of Coke or something?
Yeah, it was always, we always used to play darts, and it used to be a peanut slab and a Coke.
There you go.
We always used to be so excited for the peanut slab.
Peanut slab's the new one. Sorry, I had to ask because many of these stories start with, and I used to sit on the edge and watch my parents or my grandparents with a bag of chippies, but I like the peanut slab.
I'd go peanut slab.
Yeah, no, peanut slab was our fave.
Yeah.
Went right into that.
Sorry, anyway, continue.
And we just kept going down, and then we joined up in bowls, and actually it was just those good memories with a couple of really good mates running around the bowling club, and then we were playing cricket down the side, we were building forts up on the hill, we were doing trick shots on the bowling green, we were going down and playing in the local events together. So just all those memories, like friendships I created and those experiences I created just running around the bowling club really and eating peanut slab.
Nice. And making trick shots. What's your best trick shot?
Oh, there's one.
What's your trick shot, Seamus?
Yeah, you tell us, and I'll see if I can find it before we have the thing. It's a spinny thing, isn't it? Yeah. How did you even figure it out?
Well, Brendan from Nelson, the Stoke Bowling Club, actually taught me how to do the flipper.
Oh.
And I put it up one time, and it got quite a few views.
So what is the flipper?
Well, it goes opposite from the bias and then turns with the bias. So it's like an S.
So it makes like an S.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining if there's a bowl in the way, you're curving around it and then it flips around and it comes back and you're like, I don't have to worry about what's happening up there. I can do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I have never used it in the game, and I don't think I ever will. But it's just quite famous from the movie Crackerjack, so that's why everyone gets into it. But I also made a YouTube video with Finbar on a trick shots if anyone wants to check it out.
Yes, we might be posting that when we post this up, when we post this podcast.
Absolutely.
I think we're about 14, and the quality is very bad, but it was a bit of fun.
That's okay. People can watch it anyway. That's fantastic. Very good. So, from your earliest memory of bowls to clubs that you've been a member of, how many clubs have you played at, Seamus?
I think it would be about four. I started off at Plymouton Bowling Club, just down the road from my house. Made the decision to move to Stokes Valley Bowling Club about 4 or 5 years into my career, and that was more for competition and the club atmosphere that they had at Stokes Valley. And then had a few opportunities in Australia. Went over and played the Premier League for Inogra for 3 months, and then came back and had an opportunity to go to Revilla for a year, but only got over there for about a month and COVID put a stop to that. So I'm back home now. So yeah.
What was it like to go over to Aussie and play in those events?
It was incredible, to be honest. It was I was 19, and I had many opportunities come at me when I was 19 with UBC and Moama taking me over for a few events over there, and it was almost a bit overwhelming. But the experiences were great. I just need to be a bit more prepared for them. I don't think I put my best foot forward in those events. Maybe that was just because I was a bit young and didn't prepare as right, and was too excited for the opportunity getting asked for all these events. But the opportunities were amazing, and I cherish them a lot. But I'll be ready for the next opportunity that arises, hopefully.
Oh, fair enough. So we talk about, in bowls, we talk about people we look up to and like bowling idols, be they coaches or players or whatever. Are there a few that sort of stand out for you if you look back over your career that you've looked up to or learnt stuff from?
Yeah, I'm very grateful to play with two of the best. I mean, with Alex Marshall was one incredible experience. Just any shot he wanted to play, and he could just change the game within an instant. And there's not many players in the world that can actually just change the game like so quickly. And so he'd be one of them. And then also Gary Kelly probably. He was my roommate while I was at Warilla, and I played him in the World Cup singles. And there was a shot that he played that I always will remember. It's, I made this big target, and he was 4 down, and he was 3 up on the scoreboard, so I had 4 to take the game. And it was a big target, and I went up to Joe Edwards in the stand. I said, he's going to drive it, it's too big of a target. But he goes down, he lines up for a draw, and he draws a front toucher. And asked him after the game, I said, why'd you go down and draw that? Like, the target was so big, and why wouldn't you go hit it? And he was like, well, before you played your last bowl, I said to myself, I'm going to draw the shot. So he trusted himself before he even got on the mat to do what he wanted to do, and got it. I guess that's just trusting his gut and going for it. So I found that quite a handy tip when I was that age. So yeah,
I'll have to write that down soon and try and remember it when I get in that situation. It sounds good. So you've had a pretty busy career really, and there's plenty to go. Are there what's some exciting moments or some key moments you can look back on even now as some pretty cool points?
Probably the highlight would be the Commonwealth Youth Games over in Samoa in 2015. Went over with Ashleigh and Evan Roberts, and that was incredible. Managed to get silver medal in the singles, I think, and we got 4th in the mixed pairs. But that whole experience of playing at the games, like a littler compared to the normal games, but having that sort of games experience, staying with 2 weightlifters in my room. There was just getting the atmosphere of different sports, and seeing the drive of young athletes was incredible. And then another highlight would be the national title recently, the Open national title I received, which with Andrew Kelly. That's pretty special. So yeah, onwards and upwards.
For sure. And looking forward, looking to the future, have you got anything in your sights that you really want to tick off the list?
And life or bowls?
Both.
Yes. Thank you, Erin.
They're both important. Probably bowls. Obviously, the big goal is world champs, but almost looking past that too and getting a medal, and also Commonwealth Games. So those are the 2 peak events. Obviously, we want to get to. So to do that, just need to perform well at national events and around New Zealand and Australian events. In life, a year and a half into my uni studies, so I've got a year and a half left. So I just want to tick that off, get through that, and basically I'll take it from there and see how I feel. Whether an opportunity in Australia arises for bowls, maybe an option, but I'm pretty set on the getting my degree first, so then I can have an option to work outside of the bowling club rather than within the bowling club.
It's a good option to have. What are you studying?
Psychology.
Oh, cool.
I'm majoring in, so
nice.
that's been really interesting to me. I'm enjoying it.
You can take that into sports psychology.
I know. The amount of people that say
it's all
there's a few
connected.
bowling clubs that would want me at, but
Yeah. Then you can start psycho-analysing your opponents.
No, we don't want to be doing that for bowlers.
That's right.
Okay. Right, so every week we ask a slightly different question at the end of the chat. We've had 22 or 23 weeks now, and this week we've got one that's already caused some debate and discussion. So the question is, with cereal, do you put your milk in first, followed by cereal, or do you put your cereal in first, followed by milk?
That's simple. That's a simple question. It's cereal and then milk.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree. But then we segued into...
Yeah, good.
We got into porridge with the last conversation.
Do you enjoy porridge, Seamus?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
The last person...
I still put porridge in first and then milk.
So when you make your porridge, do you make it oats, add the milk, make it creamy, or do you make a porridge with water and then add milk on top?
No, I make it with milk.
Okay. See, I
normally have those little sachet ones.
Okay.
So you just got to tip it into the
cheats
bag.
The cheats
and then
porridge.
Yeah. It's really good for camping. I use it a few times for camping, and that's why I do it.
Okay, that makes sense. Sense. I make my oats with water, and then it creates quite a firm kind of porridge, and then I put milk on top of it to cool it down because otherwise it gets too hot. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different, a little bit unusual, but hey, it's all right.
No further comment on that statement.
But yeah.
We'll get in trouble.
Well, anyway, I'm going to leave it there before it gets too much at me. Thank you very much for talking to us, Seamus. It's been great to have a catch up. All the best for your studies. All the best for your studies. All the best for your preparation for your next run of bowling goals as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And coming up now, we're going to speak with Ashley Jeffcoat here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. Now we are speaking with Ashley Jeffcoat. Ashley, welcome to the Bowls Hour. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Like I said before, it's always good news when someone says they're good, and I'm pleased you said that. So what I thought we'd do, Ashley, is sort of start at the beginning and just try to give like an overview of you and bowls and all that sort of thing. So my first question is, what's your earliest recollection of lawn bowls?
So it's pretty an easy one. So my parents, so I grew up in Raglan, and my parents' business sponsored the Twilight Bowls. So we had to go down and make an appearance one night, and imagine 12-year-old me thought she was too cool for everyone, didn't want to go down, got given a can of lemonade at the bar.
And some chips?
Sitting there.
Did you get a bag of chips as well?
No, just the lemonade.
Okay. Okay.
Watching everyone playing, and me and my brother got asked if we wanted to have a go on the grass green. And so I was like, okay, there's nothing else better to do. So we walk over, and I played two bowls, and one of them was about 1.5 meters short, and the next one was a toucher.
Oh. Got the iron quickly, didn't you?
So then the person who took us over said, play back and I'll just go and grab the club coach. I was like, okay, whatever. Like,
why?
So, yeah, why? I'm not putting on a show. I'm just having a play. So I play it back, and kind of similar thing. I was probably about 2 meters short, and then the next one was maybe 1 meter over. And anyway, we had a couple more ends, but the club coach came over and he was like, you're quite a natural. If you wanted to go further with it, I'd be happy to help you. And I was kind of like, okay, like whatever, probably not.
Just letting you know, Ashley, I'm a bit of a natural as well.
So, yeah, that's definitely one of my earliest memories. And then it wasn't until I got to high school, probably another 5-6 months later, that they had this secondary school competition. And so I got onto it through there and actually went to the club coach and said, hi, this is what I'm going to do. And so that's where I started. And the club coach is Terry Green, so he's still my coach today.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool. That must have been neat for Terry to be there as well on your journey, because obviously you started at Raglan Bowls. What other clubs have you been a member of from then? How did it go?
I was a member at Raglan for a few years and then moved to Hamilton. So naturally didn't have my licence and so gravitated to a Hamilton club. So I played at Frankton Junction.
Yeah.
And then after I played there for a few years, I kind of just thought that it was time for a bit more competition, and I was able to drive, and so I joined Carlton Cornwall in Auckland.
And that's an incredibly strong club there, isn't it, at Carlton Cornwall, your group of people. Did you enjoy that?
Yes.
Or have you enjoyed playing in that with that group?
Yes, no, it's a very strong club, and it's really good to have that strong woman competition, which is quite hard to find in a club these days. But
it'd be important to have something like that, because if you've got your license and you're like, I can drive now, I can join a different club, you're not just going across town there, actually. You're going to a completely different city, so you want to make sure it's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, one of the reasons that I moved to a completely different centre was Waikato was just getting a bit small, and I ended up kind of playing Debbie White in just about every centre final, and so I kind of thought I need to kind of change things up if I can.
Yeah.
Fair enough too. So we talked about your clubs and your earliest memory of bowls. What about clubs that you've been to and enjoyed the experience at? Like, what's some of the favourite clubs that you've played bowls at?
So I've been to a few clubs, but I wouldn't say I've been to heaps. Burnside is definitely one that comes to top of my head. That is a really classy club and one that I've had a lot of tournaments at. But I have also played in quite a few clubs in Australia, so they're all pretty cool as well. I used to play in a Auckland versus Queensland competition, so we got to travel around a couple of the clubs over there, which was really cool.
It would be. And do you have a favourite green? What's the best green you've played on?
Best green I've played on, well, Carlton Cornwall's pretty good. But Burnside is definitely one of those ones where you can hop on any three of their grass greens in there.
Yeah, they look like a snooker table sometimes, when you look across the sort of the Manitoto things. Yeah, just lovely.
Yes, and lightning fast.
Yeah, sometimes that's good.
Yes.
Cool. So, what about some successes? What are the early successes you had in your career that you look back on and go, oh, that was pretty, that went well?
So one of the first ever ones that I had was in my second year of bowls. I played in the under-21 Kitty Hawks back in the good old days, and I ended up getting kicked out in the first round of the plate playoff.
I thought you were going somewhere different with that, ending up getting kicked out. I thought we were going to have a bit of drama here.
Oh, yeah, no. Not physically kicked out, just
knocked out.
Yes,
my God.
That's the one.
Wow. This could
So
have been
people could take knocked out the wrong way as well.
Yeah.
You lost a game, is what we're saying.
Yes. So I lost in the first round of the plate playoff, and so I said to myself that I was going to go back next year and I was going to win it. And I ended up winning it against Taylor Bruce in the final, which was pretty cool. So that's definitely a memory that sticks out. But also in 2015, I went to Samoa for the Youth Commonwealth Games with Seamus Curtin, and I won gold in the women's singles.
Well done.
That's pretty exciting. We were just talking to Seamus. He mentioned that. Can you talk us, what was that experience like to go over there? And was there, he said there were different athletes, so did you room with people who weren't lawn bowlers? How did it all go?
Yeah, so I ended up rooming with the squash girls, which one of them just got picked to go to the Birmingham Commonwealth Games. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see them continue in their sport as well. But we made heaps of new friends, and it's cool to see all of them still thriving in their sport. A couple of them went to the Olympics for weightlifting, and heaps of the swimmers are still involved and studying in America and competing in their big comps as well.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So what about some other success when you look back, and your career's still young really, you've got plenty of time to go, but if you look back at what you've done so far, what are some things that stick out for you after that Youth Com Games?
So a year and a bit later, I won my first national title in Taranaki with Dale Rayner. Mm-hmm. So that was another big milestone for me. I'd made one final in my kind of second or third year of bowls in the fours and didn't win. So that was a bit gutting, but it was good to finally get one under the belt. And then the following year we got runner-up in the pairs as well. So it was cool to back it up as well. That
must have felt pretty cool to win a national title. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was amazing, and we just both played really well through the whole tournament. It's really nice when you can kind of bounce off each other, and it's something unreal.
Fair enough. I get it. So, future plans, what are you looking at? We've had a couple of years. I mean, it's been an unusual time, hasn't it? We've had 2 years of a pandemic, and it's been hard to make any, I found it hard to make any sort of plans with certainty, but hopefully that's changing. What's in the future, Ashleigh?
So I'm just hoping to get out a bit more and play in more tournaments around the place. There's a few bowling clubs I haven't been to before, like Nelson, I've never been to at all, so it would be cool to try and get somewhere new. Also haven't played in the Burnside under 26 singles in a while, so hoping to go to that as well.
Oh, fantastic. That makes sense. And my other question I was going to ask is, we all have bowls idols in different ways. You've spoken about your coach. Who do you look up to, or who have you looked up to over your career and thought that's someone I can take some cues from?
So obviously, I guess everyone would say this, but Jo Edwards is someone that comes straight to mind.
Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah. She's just someone that everyone can look up to and take a bit of learning from. I know that I went to a Trans-Tasman one year and I had to play her in a singles game and I completely crumbled to bits. Completely crumbled. It was just in a practice. And it'll be burned in my memory forever how bad it was. But it was one of those things that I thought, if I get to play her again, I know what I'm going to change and I know that I'm going to have grown from that experience. And so, just watching her play as well, and she's amazing.
There we go.
Fair cool. Yep. Okay, so every bowls hour we do, we ask we call it the bonus question, don't we, Erin?
Yes, we do.
At the end of the chat, and it's something that's got nothing to do with bowls, but just to get your opinion on whatever.
We get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, like we've spoken about toilet rolls and mouse traps and all that sort of thing. So today the question is, do you put your milk first in followed by cereal, or do you put your cereal first in and follow it with milk?
Well, I can tell you there's only one correct answer to this question. And if anybody else answers anything different, we can't be friends anymore.
Okay. Wow. Okay, this is frightening.
She doesn't like cereal.
You have to put the cereal in first and then the milk.
Oh, thank God.
There we go.
Because other people had said that. I thought you and Seamus might be having
your friendship's done.
Honestly, I can't. If someone's out here putting the milk in beforehand, I can't. The cereal, it's going to be dry on the top. What are you even doing?
I think that's the point.
And also, are you making this question up, or do you know of people that put cereal on top of milk?
No, I found I Googled interesting questions to ask, because that's what you do when you can't think of interesting questions. And there was a poll, and I'll give you, it wasn't in New Zealand, so maybe they didn't have quite our outlook on life. But it was 40-60. 40% of people who did the poll reckon you put your milk in first and put the cereal on top, the logic being that you want your cereal to be crunchy. Was the
No.
logic?
Because then you're going to have milk wastage. You can't be having that.
Yeah, you might
That's
put
true.
too much milk in, and then you have to put too much cereal on top, and then you're like, I can't finish this, and it's only breakfast.
Well, you can't top it back up again with milk, can you? Because you destroy the point.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure if it's my best question, but it's
This is what happens when you let Alex find the questions.
it was a question, and I've enjoyed asking it.
Yeah. It is a good question, and you have enjoyed asking it. Well, anyway, thank you for your time today, Ashleigh. We appreciate having a catch up with you. All the best for getting yourself back out to those competitions that you may have missed over the last couple of years.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
No worries.
Thanks, Ashley.
Well, anyway, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Bowls Hour, a show for all things bowls. If you enjoy listening to this podcast, remember to share it around. We can be found on Facebook every week from 7 p.m, as well as Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and the Bowls New Zealand website, or wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in next week for more talk about everything bowls. Until then, roll on.